Hi everyone, this is Dr. Mohammad Anis, Associate Professor, Department of Microbiology, Guwahati University of Science and Technology, Guwahati. This is my lecture number 13. The course title is Soil Microbiology. The course code is MIC 316. The title of this lecture is Interaction of Microorganisms and Plants in Soil. Starting with the lecture outline, I will be discussing about different types of microorganisms. First, I will introduce the topic of the lecture, and then we will discuss about nitrogen fixing bacteria, and then we will discuss about the different rhizobial relationships with plants, mycorrhizal relationships with plants, and the plant growth promoting rhizobacteria. These are different types of microorganisms which are beneficial to plants. They give different kinds of benefits in terms of yield or production. Another kind of relationship between plant and microorganism is pathogenic relationship. Of course, that leads to different kinds of losses in yield or quality in plants. And finally, I will summarize the different interactions that we have discussed, both the favorable relationship and also the pathogenic relationship between microorganisms and plants in soil. Now, starting with the introduction, there are a number of plant microbe interactions. As we have already discussed in the outline, if we categorize these interactions, we can say that there are basically two types of interactions. One are the beneficial interactions between microorganisms and plants. When we talk about the beneficial interactions between microorganisms and plants, we can discuss about three main types of microbial interactions between plants and microorganisms. Number one, the nitrogen fixing bacteria. Number two, the mycorrhizal relationship between plants and fungi. And number three, the plant growth promoting rhizobacteria. These are three major microbial relationships between plants and microorganisms in the soil. So we'll be talking about these relationships in coming slides. Another kind of relationship is the pathogenic interaction. As you know that there are a number of pathogens among microorganisms that cause different kinds of diseases in plants. Diseases are of many types, and their losses are also variable depending on the type of pathogen and the type of plant. If whenever we talk about microorganisms as pathogen, there are two major types of microorganisms which cause diseases are bacteria and fungi. Among them, the most important are the fungi, which cause up to 90% losses in plants in soil. Now, first we start with the nitrogen fixing bacteria. What are nitrogen fixing bacteria? These are the bacteria which make symbiotic relationship with plants. Symbiotic relationship means the relationship in which both the partners get benefit out of the relationship. Both partners means both the microorganism and the plants. Nitrogen fixing means these microorganisms fix nitrogen from the atmosphere into the soil. There are two types of nitrogen fixing bacterial relationship between plant roots and microorganisms. One is rhizobium legume relationship, and the other one is Frankia actinorhizal plant relationship. There is a third one also, which is not symbiotic relationship. That that is actually the that are actually the free living bacteria present in the soil. But here we will particularly we will talk about the symbiotic relationship between plants and the microorganism. Now, what is rhizobium legume relationship? Rhizobium legume relationship is a kind of relationship between bacteria and plant roots. There are different types of bacteria which are involved in this relationship. These are the major types: Rhizobium, Bradyrhizobium, and Azorhizobium species. These bacteria have the ability to make symbiotic relationship with the particular family of plants known as Fabaceae, the family Fabaceae. The family Fabaceae is the family of plants which contain all the plants that make pods. These are the pod making plants. These plants are also known as legumes. For example, groundnut, peas, and many more. The other relationship that is Frankia plant relationship. Frankia are also bacteria. These are the actinomycete bacteria. They also make nodules like rhizobium with diverse trees and shrubs. There are around 170 plant species in 70 different genera, and these different genera belong to around 8 different families and 7 orders. So this is a little bit more diverse kind of relationship. Now we discuss the plant rhizobium relationship in a bit more detail. Rhizobium is a bacteria, as we have already talked about, that it is a bacteria that is present in the soil, and it makes a kind of relationship that is symbiotic relationship with the plant roots of leguminous plants. Actually, rhizobium contains the nitrogen fixing system that is known as NIF system. NIF system consists of a number of different genes that are responsible for making relationship. I mean, first their expression leads to establishment of the relationship, and then fixation of the nitrogen. The enzyme that is involved in this nitrogen fixation is known as nitrogenase. So this is the enzyme which is responsible for nitrogen fixation. The other partner is the plant belonging to Leguminaceae or Fabaceae family. It has around 700 different genera and 14,000 different species. So it's a very big group of plants. So what happens, how this relationship is established? So we will talk about it here in, in, uh, in a brief way. Here you see, these are the plant cells, and this is the root here. So initially there is no relationship here at this spot, but rhizobium is present in closed vicinity in the soil. So whenever plant needs the nodulation to start, plant produce particular kind of chemicals in the environment known as the flavonoids. Here you see these are the flavonoids produced by these plant cells. These flavonoids are specific to specific microbial cells. In this case, these flavonoids are specific for the rhizobial cells. So these are the rhizobial cells present close to the root hair, and they can sense the flavonoids. Now, when the flavonoids will be sensed by the rhizobial microorganisms, rhizobium, there will be a series of genes that will be expressed inside the microorganisms responsible for production of node factors. So here you see these are the node factors. Node factors are basically the signals produced by the rhizobial cells to plants that initiate a number of gene expression in plant cells. So node factors are produced, and these node factors are sensed by the plant roots, and as a result the infection thread is formed. Infection thread basically is a kind of insertion of microorganism inside the plant roots or root hairs. As soon as the microorganism enter the plant roots, nodule formation starts. Here you see this process has already started here, and then a nodule develops in which microorganism divides rapidly, and they make colonies within the nodules in the form of bacteroids. They lose their rod shaped and attain a bacteroid form inside the nodules. So this is how this process takes place inside the soil. So this process is highly specific, and there are particular genes which are expressed both in part of microorganisms and in part of the plants. As a result, this symbiotic relationship is established. Now, as you see, it's highly specific relationship between bacteria and plant, and the enzymes that are required for nitrogen fixation are known as nitrogenases. These nitrogenases are very much sensitive to oxygen. That's why nitrogen fixation process is highly anaerobic process, a strictly anaerobic process. Now, how the plant can control oxygen supply to avoid this to avoid the disturbance of nitrogen fixation, or how this process is controlled. Actually, a specific compound is produced that is known as leg hemoglobin. This leg hemoglobin contains iron. It's an iron compound. It's reddish in color, and it actually binds oxygen with it and protects the nitrogenase system that is sensitive to oxygen. So this is how symbiosis proceeds. As it is symbiosis. Symbiosis means that both partners get benefit from each other. Bacteria provides something and plant provides something in return. So what bacteria provides? Bacteria provides nitrogen that it fixes from the atmosphere inside the nodules. And in return, plant provides carbon, energy, and support to the bacteria. As you have seen that this interaction is highly specific. It is genetically and biochemically harmonized process. Some genes activates some other genes, and as a result, some chemicals are produced. So it's a highly harmonic system. It's a harmonized system. The nitrogen that is fixed inside the nodules is in the form of ammonium. So this interaction, as you see, between microorganisms and plants is highly beneficial for plant development and productivity. Now, next relationship that we will discuss here is the mycorrhizal relationship. It's also a symbiotic relationship. This symbiotic relationship is between plant roots and fungi. The mycorrhizal relationship is of different types. For example, first one is endomycorrhiza. The endomycorrhiza, as the name indicates, it is a relationship inside the roots between fungi and plants. And the plants are the herbaceous plants. Second type is ectomycorrhiza. It's a relationship between the fungi and the woody plants. The difference between the two is the presence of a Hartig network. The Hartig network or mycorrhizal sheath is present in case of ectomycorrhiza around the roots. This sheath is absent in case of endomycorrhiza. Another type is ectendomycorrhiza, which contains the characteristics of both the ecto and endomycorrhiza. And there are some other types of mycorrhizal relationships also. So majority of plants make the mycorrhizal relationship. Mycorrhizal relationship, as I have talked already, that it is also a kind of symbiotic relationship between fungi and the plant roots. It has been reported both in vascular and non-vascular plants. So what this symbiosis is for? This symbiosis is for both. I mean, both get something out of the relationship. Fungi provides plants with some nutrients, for example, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, etc. Most important is, in this case, is phosphorus. While it also protects plant from the drought stress, because it increases the rooting area, root zone of the plant. So it can get more water for the plants. So it can protect plants from the drought stress. Not only water, but also it can provide more nutrients, and plant will be more healthy. It can be able to bear up with the drought. And it has also been reported that it can also protect plants from different attacks of the pathogens. And what mycorrhizal fungus get in return is the support from the plant in terms of carbon. Because it is a fungus, it cannot manufacture its own food. So for its food, it depends on plant. So the relationship is a two-way relationship. Both contribute to each other. Now, the third type of relationship is between microorganisms and the plants in soil, is the plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, that is PGPR. What are PGPR? PGPR are the bacteria that are present in the rhizosphere of the plants. What is rhizosphere? Rhizosphere is the area which is very close to the plant roots. It's the immediate zone. It is the immediate or closely attached area to the roots. So this area is very close to plant roots, and here there are some microorganisms present which are very close to plant roots. They can get uh, different benefits from the plants. For example, plants produce a number of exudates, and these exudates can play a kind of selective role for microorganism. How it can play a selective role? Because the exudates are specific to a specific type of plant. So it can favor some microorganisms, and in this way it can select among a different type of species of microorganism present in soil. So microorganisms play a key role in different ways to promote the plant growth. First is the nutrient acquisition and assimilation to help the plant. So it can improve the nutrient acquisition. It can capture some kind of nutrient that is limiting. Normally that is limiting, but because bacteria is helping, so it will quench that particular nutrient, for example, iron, and it will provide this nutrient to the plant in some kind of interaction. Second benefit is the secretion of extracellular molecules. So some PGPRs have been reported to produce the plant growth promoting hormones, and some can produce specific secondary metabolites such as antibiotics or antifungal compounds. The PGPRs in this way interact with the plants and improve plant growth either directly by producing hormones as we have discussed above, or by indirectly. Indirectly means that they, uh, they, they may not interact with the plant, but they may interact with the pathogens which attack on the plant. So by controlling those pathogens, this is an indirect help to the plant. So this is the indirect way they help the plant and improve the plant growth. And a third way these bacteria help in controlling diseases is inducing of resistance in plant against different diseases. So these are different ways the plant growth promoting rhizobacteria can interact with the plant roots. Now this was all about the beneficial interactions. There can be some other interactions also, but these are the major types. Then now now we discuss about the pathogenic interaction between microorganism and plants. There are a number of microorganisms that can cause diseases in plants, including viruses, bacteria, fungi, and many more, such as nematodes. And these microorganisms have ability to cause diseases in plants because they have evolved certain kind of mechanisms, and these mechanisms are sometimes very specific to some plants, and through these mechanisms they are able to get into the plant tissues, and they are able to take control of the plants mechanisms. And when they get that kind of control, they damage the plants and they develop disease symptoms. There are a number of symptoms that are observed in plants because of the pathogenic interactions. It includes the seedling damping off. Damping off disease means the seedling die very soon. Sometimes it die soon after germination. So that kind of damping off is called pre-emergence damping off. Or it may die soon after emerging from the soil. So it's a very serious disease. It is mainly caused by the fungus. Different types of soil fungi are responsible for causing damping off. Second important disease is wilting. So as the name indicates, wilting means the plant wilts, plant die, because the pathogen attack the vascular tissues and block the supply of water to the shoot. It leads to wilting of the plants. Then there are necrosis and blight of tissues, in which there is some local effect on tissues. And similarly, there are spots and some rots. Spots and rots can be on different parts of the plant, and rots are either on shoot or on root. Then there are some systemic problems like tumors, and tumors means the unnecessary growth on or abscess formation on plant tissues. So these are different symptoms, and there are many more symptoms. The bacterial pathogens that may cause diseases in plants include Xanthomonas species, Erwinia species, Clavibacter, and Streptomyces species. And there are many other species, but these are the important ones. These are commonly present in the soil, and it is not important that if they are present, they will cause symptoms. I mean, plant doesn't always develop symptoms. The symptoms are developed in particular conditions and depends on the plant susceptibility to the pathogen. Now, the pathogenic fungi. There are different types of fungi. It's a very diverse type of fungi which are able to cause diseases in plants, including ascomycetes. Ascomycetes are the fungi uh, which include Fusarium, Alternaria, and Aspergillus. These are very important pathogens. And then Basidiomycetes, very diverse group of fungi. It includes rust, smuts, very known and destroying diseases in wide variety of plants. Similarly, there are other fungi which belong to these groups. Then there are oomycetes like Pythium and Phytophthora species. And one thing in common in all these pathogenic fungi is that all of them are soil-borne. They are present in the soil, they show activity in the soil, and then they cause disease in the plants from the soil. There are a number of factors which control these symptoms. These factors include the resistance in the plant, how resistant is the plant. The resistance is controlled by the genetic factors that are present in the plants. Then another factor is host specificity, whether pathogen is able to cause disease in the host, whether host is specific, whether the pathogen is virulent, and another factor that is population density of the pathogen, whether the pathogen is present in good numbers. Finally, I summarize all these this lecture here. So first, soil, as we discussed, is a major medium for interaction between plants and microorganisms. Interactions can be beneficial or pathogenic. In both cases, they are very important for plants for their quality and quantity of product. One of them that we discussed is plant rhizobial interaction that leads to nitrogen fixation in the soil. Then mycorrhizal relationship is another important relationship between plant roots and fungi. It is highly beneficial for plant production. Then PGPRs are present in very close vicinity to plant roots. They are beneficial for plant growth and production, either directly or indirectly. And then interactions can also be pathogenic. There are a number of microbial pathogens that are present in the soil, including bacteria and fungi. Fungi are the most important pathogens in the soil, and they're responsible for causing huge losses, up to 90% losses have been reported so far. So this is all about. Thank you very much.